Most of you have no idea how powerful tanks actually are in Marvel Rivals. If you ever feel like you're just getting rolled every game, chances are it's not your DPS, it's not your healers, it's your tank play. Today, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why you feel useless as a tank. I'm going to talk about how to actually take space properly without throwing your life away, and the small mindset shift that will make you almost unkillable in the front line. Because here's the thing, tanks decide the fight before it even starts. And if you don't understand that, you're the reason your team is losing. The first concept you need to drill into your brain is the flow of this game. As a tank, it's push or be pushed. Right now, your tanking feels useless. You're getting shredded, your team ignores your plays, and you're left wondering why nothing ever goes your way. Here's the harsh truth. If you're not taking space, you're giving it away for free. But there's good news, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to flip that feeling of helplessness on its head with a few mindset shifts and tactics that will make you the unstoppable wall your team needs. Here's what most of you never understand. When you walk into the enemy team with confidence, it's like a lion stepping into a field of hyenas. They might bark and snarl, but the moment you show them that you're not afraid, they back up. But what do most tanks do? They're the ones backing down. They give up space before the fight even starts. No one's hit them, no cooldowns have been used, no ultimates, but they're already retreating. And when you back down first, your team feels it. They lose space, they lose confidence, and suddenly you're on the back foot with no way to recover. That's why most of you feel useless when you're tanking. Your DPS can't deal damage when they're being barrel stuffed by the enemy tanks. Your healers can't keep people alive when they're pressured off angles. If you're not taking space, you're handing it over to the enemy team on a silver platter. I know it's easy to blame your DPS, and chances are they are doing bad and they're not getting the picks they should be getting. And same with your supports. Maybe you're not getting healed even though you think you should be. I get that, I do. But at the end of the day, this is a team game and there's nothing you can do about their gameplay. But what you can do is change your gameplay accordingly. Try your best to take space for your DPS so they can stand in off angles or in positions that enable them better and allow them to get easier picks. For your supports, make sure you're always in their LOS. Yes, try to take space, but make sure you're always conscious of where you are relative to your own supports. Make sure that wherever you're going or wherever you're at, the sustainability you need to be able to push up further. So, how do you fix this? First, it starts with ego. Now, I'm not talking about that ego that leads you to the toxic path of blaming your own teammates. I'm talking about confidence. You need to walk at them with the mindset of, this is my space and I'm not leaving whether you like it or not. If they back up, great. You've won before the fight even started. If they stand their ground, that's when your real tanking begins. Think of yourself like a battering ram. Your job is to slam into their front line, force their backline to reposition, and create openings for your team to exploit. And yes, even diving tanks need to create that frontline pressure first. It just happens to be in a different way. If you're diving in like Captain America leaping into 6 enemies before your enemy teams even cross the choke, you're not creating space. You're just creating a free kill for the enemy team. That's exactly why you keep dying alone, wondering why no one followed up. It's honestly kind of annoying. So many of you are wondering why people aren't pushing up with you or capitalizing off the space you take. And all I have to say to you is that it's not that your team didn't want to help or didn't follow up or weren't competent. It's because you didn't even give them the chance to move in safely behind you. You took all the space, sure. It's because you're a tank and you have the health and the movement for it, but not every character is built like you, my boy. As a tank, you gotta be aware of where your team is as well as the enemy team. You gotta be able to essentially hold your team's hand into the enemy team, not just leave them and hope they're right behind you and have your back. Another mistake I see most tanks make is that people think because they're a tank, their job is to soak up all the damage. While I understand where that thought process comes from, that is not at all what being a tank is about. Now, I'm not saying it's bad for you to soak up any damage as a tank. I'm just saying you need to think more into it. Think at a deeper level. When you're soaking up damage, you're not just taking in some damage. You're charging your support's ult faster and forcing the enemy to use their cooldowns on you. But if you don't have these things in mind, you end up just standing in the open, eating shots with no purpose or any cover or awareness of your supports or any type of plan to capitalize off of any of the damage you are soaking up. So most of the time, instead of just standing in the open and taking in enemy damage, learn to use the natural cover around you. Great tanks peek from cover. They test the enemy's healing output by dealing some poke damage on the enemy tanks or whoever's nearby. And they only commit when they know the enemy can't keep up or when your team's got a pick or something to act as a catalyst towards your team pushing up. So while yes, in the beginning I was saying you need to learn to just start pushing up ahead and realize that most enemies kind of back down, you also need to learn not to just run in and pray that it works. There's a sweet spot in the middle there. It's kind of hard to explain in words, but here's a little exercise to understand how it works a little bit better. Pick any tank you want. I prefer Mag because he has so much self-sustain. And just hold W. Go into the enemy team as deep as you can and use whatever cooldowns you can to stay alive as long as you can. You will eventually die, but the point of this is to know that you actually can push up a lot more than you think, and it'll also help you limit and realize how far you actually can push without being punished. And once you start getting punished, you'll kind of find a sweet spot there. Now, I'm not saying you should do that in your ranked games, but when you do that enough in even quick play, you'll realize that that same sweet spot is kind of similar among most games, and you kind of just use that as a template towards every game. I don't know if I explained that too well, so if you're still a little confused, leave a comment below and I'll type you an essay. Anyways, I hope now you understand why your games feel so impossible. It's not just their DPS outskilling yours, it's their tank giving them confidence to take every angle and every opportunity away from you and your team. And my boy, please stop holding your shield like that's 99% of your identity. Contrary to what you may think, your shield isn't meant to hide behind forever. Use it kinda like a sword and shield combo. Block key bursts of damage like cooldowns or ults. Cover your team as they move from one point of natural cover to the next. That's something you want to emphasize. If you're in comms with your teammates, you don't want them to learn that they can just hide behind you forever because you're just going to hold L2 or right click for the rest of your life. Teach them that your shield is to help them go from one point of natural cover to the next point of natural cover. That way, natural cover, believe it or not, is way stronger than your shield. So your team's gonna survive way longer than they would hiding behind your shield. Not only are there stronger cover alternatives for your team, but holding your shield the entire fight also plummets your overall team's damage by a lot. Because you're holding up your shield so much, you can't inflict any damage, so your DPS are stuck trying to handle all the picks by themselves. Additionally, since you're holding your shield, your ult charge is barely climbing, meanwhile their tank is probably dealing damage and holding shield, so he's building charge way faster than you. By holding your shield, you become nothing more than a slow-moving bunker that doesn't even do his job right by holding his shield just so it breaks over and over and over again. That's why you end up blaming your team and feeling like you're just existing on the battlefield instead of controlling it. Because your role isn't just standing there forever taking hits. Your role is to force the enemy to back off, open angles for your DPS to secure kills, and giving your healers a frontline worth investing their cooldowns into. When you start doing that, fights that felt unwinnable become effortless, and your win rate will finally reflect the effort you're putting in. And if you want to take this even further, my next video breaks down how DPS can use the same push or be pushed mindset to dominate every fight they take. So subscribe so you don't miss it. I also just wanted to say thank you. Last video you guys gave me so much good feedback and I tried my best to incorporate whatever I could into this video, and with that said, I ask that you give me some more feedback, please. I'm always trying to improve and I can't do that without your help. So please, if there's anything you think I can do to improve my videos, let me know in the comments. Thanks and see ya.